Good morning, Ospreys, and welcome to episode 1 of The Spinn. I'm Carly Kramer, and on my right we have Ashante Hall, and on my left we have Joshua Morgan. We have a lot to debate today on what is happening with the government shutdown. Welcome to the first episode of The Spinn. So here on The Spinn, we are a debate show in which we cover politics, sports, pop culture, and anything we want, but today we are going to be talking about a fun topic, the government shutdown. Before we get into it, let's just get some background info on our debaters. So Ashante, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, well, like you said, my name is Ashanti. I'm a sophomore here at the university. I'm a communications major with a minor in sociology, and I hope to one day have my own TV show.
That's awesome. And Joshua?
Hey guys, I'm Josh. I just transferred in from Boca Raton. I'm a neuroscience major, and I'll be pursuing a physician's assistant's career.
Awesome. So now to jump into the debate, we're first just going to get your opinions on how you guys feel about it. So how do you feel about the government shutdown?
It was not necessary.
I actually agree. It was not necessary at all. It's just kind of just a big, I feel like everything is just like a big misunderstanding and everything is just unorganized and it's all over the place.
See, yeah, I've tried to see it from Trump's position. Shut the government down so that we can all come together and make an agreement. Mm-hmm. However, now he's saying that he has different pots of money where he can potentially get this funding for the wall for. So it's kind of like inversely proportionate to why would you even shut the government down if you had the ability to get the money raised for the wall to begin with. So now we're left with all of these backlashes for something that could have probably been avoided to begin with.
Mm-hmm. And considering that this is like his third shutdown in just his presidency alone, just goes to show how screwed up everything is with Trump. And, you know, it's just not a good thing. He's just, obviously, he's not the best president, but at the same time, a lot of this could have been avoided much earlier on to, I guess, minimize the confusion and the unorganized stuff that's going on right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel about government organizations being understaffed, like TSA and things like that in national parks?
That's terrible.
What do you mean? I mean, how would you feel if you were going to the airport and you see one security guard with the little magnetic wand going boop, boop, boop? You know, lines are out the door or they're shutting down Concords, you know, making the wait at an airport even longer. These people need to be paid. He keeps preaching about national security. Well, if you're going to fight national security at the border, you need to make sure we have it in our airplane transportation system as well.
Yeah, it's very ironic how the government shutdown is because of something that is a safety concern or security purposes, but at the same time, we're minimizing our security for one thing. You know, I personally don't believe or agree that the wall is really that important right now. We have so many other things to be worrying about in our country. I mean, Flint, Michigan doesn't even have clean water at the moment, and we're worrying about a wall for what? And I call it the racist
national
wall.
Security.
Yeah, national security. I mean, if that's the case, we should have a wall around the whole country.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not necessarily taking sides for the wall, but he does have some points when it comes to the national security breaching across these Arizona borders or wherever he's talking about. There's like 1,900 miles of border, and I believe 900 of it or something has fencing around it. So him trying to beef up the security around that wall. The Mexican president even did a little clip where he was saying these smugglers that Trump keeps referring to are going to constantly find ways to get over that wall or get under that wall. And people who are illegally migrating into this country are going to find a way, I believe, one way or another.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if they're going to find a way around it, like, what's the point of spending all these billions of dollars on it? You know, I just don't.
I think it has something to do with the steel company. He keeps mentioning that he wants steel to be this big employer of the United States of America, and by building a wall, all of that money can go towards the steel companies. And how that's going to be reciprocated to the American community, I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think that could be one angle that he's coming at as well. National security, I'm all about it. I don't care what anyone says about Trump, him beefing up military and national security, I'm all for it. We need our country to be safe. Yes, there has been multiple terrorist attacks within the last couple of years, even extending all the way back to the World Trade Centers. These are things that cannot be overlooked. And if funding is something that we need for national security, I stand for it. Now, the little things that trickle down by shutting down the government and over a wall, we have these people who are going to homeless shelters to try to get food for money, trying to get some food because they have no money. But at the same time, Trump's sitting in his office eating a steak dinner, maybe.
Exactly. I agree. I do agree with, boosting security, but I think it's just different ways to go about it.
Like how?
It's like you said, not shutting down the government.
Yeah.
I'm not in the chair. I don't know all the ways to possibly do it, but this is not the way. And I still just don't see the point in the wall. I just personally just don't see the point. I don't think it would do anything. And it's just.
What about our border patrol? Do you think maybe invest more money into
yes.
manpower?
Yes.
Patrolling, more money into technology, maybe like infrared systems that could pick up people, or maybe having drones flying up and down the borders that can employ more jobs potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're right. There are other ways to do this, but one thing you said that I really like is we don't really know why he wants this wall so adamantly. What is this 32-foot wall going to really do?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So there lies the big question of lack of communication between the guy who's running our country and the people who live in it.
Exactly, especially like now, since it's kind of affecting us the most now. I think it's just he needs to better explain what's going on, because from what I'm hearing, it's just you just don't want these people in our country. That's kind of what I'm hearing.
Which that makes sense. Okay, listen, you need to come to this country legally. I understand if you come to this country, you set 1 foot down over the border, you can seek asylum and stay here. But I think the new law, don't quote me on this, if you come here, you can be deported back to Mexico and wait out your asylum and court date there. But, America is land of the free, home of the brave. Everyone wants to come here and live the American dream, but you need to do it legally.
But at the same time, think about it. You live in poverty, don't have any money, you want it better for your children. I have friends who are not from America, and they've been here for about 10 years and still haven't even received their American citizenship yet. It's a very long process, and living in those conditions, you want it like now. I'm not condoning them doing it illegally, but at the same time, I can understand their mindset of them wanting to come here, and, at least for their children, and then like now children have to suffer from it. And this,
I completely understand the realization of the situation, but they want to keep harping on the legalization of the situation, which means you have to come over here properly.
Yeah.
What if 10,000 people just say, you know what, let's cross the border. They get here, they can seek asylum, they're not deported, they're here. Now what?
I think
we got to feed them. We got to house them. They need a job too.
I feel like we have enough space for them. 10,000 people is nothing.
10,000 people is nothing. It's just an off the wall number.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think because the thing about a lot of immigrants, they come to America and they build up. They help us a lot. You see different races, like you see the Asians, they have a lot of restaurants, they have a lot of
no.
You have Mexicans, they do stuff for us. It's like it'll be in return, like if they come here illegally, and now what? I think they can help benefit us and everything and work their way just like us. I think that's the main thing. They don't come here. I don't think they're trying to come here and do anything bad. They just want better for themselves.
Yeah, I'm only talking about illegally coming over here. I love America because we're the only country that has every race here, and we all work together. Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. I'm not condoning that one bit.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, purple, alien. If you go to Russia, don't you have to have some legalization in order to become a resident of their country?
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not saying, hey, I want to go to Russia and live a better life.
Why does everyone want to come to America? Because we are the best country in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I can see it from, and it's not just Mexico at the same time. It's other countries. You have a lot of like Caribbean islands. A lot of immigrants come from there too illegally, and it's not just Mexico. So I think
Cuba,
another thing, I think another thing is that if we're gonna boost security, we shouldn't just target one specific group too. Because I just keep on hearing Mexicans, and it's like we're being like racist or prejudiced against one group, and that's another thing too. I mean, if
So
we're
you
gonna,
think hold on, unpopular opinion. You think the wall stands for racism?
Yes, absolutely. I think
and not
100%.
national security, border protection.
Nope.
So you think Trump's saying, Mexico, I'm building a wall because we don't like you.
Exactly.
That's the message.
Do it for Canadians.
That's the message that's being sent. I can't disagree with that. Mm-hmm. But if he has a specific reason for building a wall for security purposes, I'm for it. If he's building it because there's some underlying tone of we don't like immigrants coming into here, I don't stand for that.
And I don't even think it's a we thing. I think it's a him thing.
Trump
is the type of person.
He's running the country there, and he's a white American, and he's sitting here, and now that's going to put a racial divide amongst people. Oh, there's a white man in the office, and he doesn't like Mexicans. Oh, he's racist. Okay, let's associate him with other white males or Caucasian race, and that's going to trickle down. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ignorance is bliss. It's just, that's what it is. People are going to look on social media and see some meme that correlates two things together, because we all know social media is the new news outlet these days. Mm-hmm. And people are going to start believing that crap.
Yeah, and his ego just gets in the way with a lot of things too. I mean, it's just.
Now, I'm not a big fan of Nancy Pelosi. I can say that, but she did say that he did walk out on one of the meetings like a temper tantrum. So, but hearing something like that, because there was no press conference in the room at the time, just lets you know kind of what we're dealing with as president.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, any president that sits there and tweets everything about his life and condolences when a national tragedy happens, obviously is not a person you would see as a leader. He's a joke to me. I mean, I'm not trying to put my personal opinions about, too much on the president himself, but at the same time, it just shows, the person who's running a country, how immature he can be. I mean, think about it, the same president who just gave the football team who just won the championship, fast food for their dinner when they met. Like,
maybe they wanted that. Maybe they wanted that. I don't know.
Even if
give
they
them some
did
Vienna
want it,
sausage and some pizza bagels. I mean, if that's what they want, give it to them. But.
Even if I doubt if they came to agreement and say, hey, let's get 4 for $4s and Big Macs. I mean, I
mean,
doubt
if you come
that,
to my house, I'm not giving you filet mignons and the finest champagne. You might get some hot dogs and a hamburger.
Yeah, but at the same time,
so it's more of like a home welcome.
I
don't know.
He wouldn't want nothing like that. I expect something. If I was going to go meet the president, I don't care if I wanted a Big Mac. I expect the nice little, it ain't got to be too much, but something really nice. But
that's because you have an expectation. You can't have
I mean, I guess guys may be a little different. Football team, I don't know.
Give me a slice of pizza, I'm happy, dude.
But yeah, I mean, I have nothing against 4 for 4s,
but back to the wall. What else you got for us, Miss Kramer?
So we're actually going to go to a break right now, but after the break, we will continue with our second question. You're watching The Spin on Spinnaker TV.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let me tell you a little bit about the STEM. My name's Lee Gia. My friends and I have done some amazing things on this show, like flying through hurricanes, or driving Teslas, or swimming with manatees, or even floating in zero gravity. We film these things and bring them here, to the world's next great science and space show. That's where the STEM comes in. We go on adventures as an excuse to learn something. The universe is a pretty big place. There's a lot to learn, a lot that's interesting to learn. Over the next year or so, we'll be riding in the centrifuge, farm in the heart of New York City, fly a spaceship, fly President Harry Truman's Air Force One, launch some rockets, catch some rockets. Nice! Shoot video at the speed of light. Our world and universe are there, waiting to be explored. The question is, what are you waiting for?
everyone, welcome back to The Spin. Let's jump back into it. So what would you two say is a solution to not having a government shutdown in the future or even preventing prolonged shutdowns?
That is a good question.
Putting the people first, and just I think sometimes that's just all they have to do. I think sometimes they just get wrapped around into their own little thing, and a lot of people who are in politics, well, pretty much all politicians, they have money. They have, they're living pretty good, and they're not living in the, a lot of people's shoes. A lot of people, they don't have money. They struggling, making ends meet. So when you hear certain things like with the government shutdown, and a lot of these people are not being paid to work, they don't care really too much about that. I know people who literally cannot pay their bills right now. I mean, it just opened back up, they're getting paid now, but at one point they were selling stuff just to get money to pay their rent and stuff. So I think sometimes they just have to just, even though they might not agree too much on it, sometimes they just got to agree to disagree. And if they want better for us as a whole, I think sometimes they just have to just look at, the main picture and just put those egos aside and that pride.
Yep. The Trump administration actually had somebody by the last name of Ross. I don't know his first name, but he actually went on air talking about the people, and he was somewhat shocked to see these people are going to homeless shelters to get food. And one of his answers, or replies, shall I say, was they could easily go to a bank or a credit union and pull out a loan to get by. And that just goes to show you the disconnection between him and the people. Because the people, we the people, some of us live paycheck to paycheck. That's just the harsh realities between rent, kids, daycare, food, car, insurance, the whole nine. We struggle. So by taking away a month's worth of income, how are you supposed to survive? You can't just call your stockbroker and say, hey, I want you to sell a couple of my shares and then just take that $2-3 million and stick it into my bank account and we'll be fine. I could pay the Rolls Royce. That's just a big disconnection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, that's just the thing. I think that's like the easiest way to avoid it. Because, the majority of Americans, not saying that, everyone is living, those type of ways, but at the same time, no one really makes like big money like that just to go a whole month or two straight without a paycheck.
All these government jobs, like the 800,000 people, they're not pulling in $250,000 a year.
Exactly.
TSA, the lunch, and everybody else. Mm-hmm. They're probably making average wages, and you take away a month's worth of pay and expect them to still go to work. I don't know. Yeah, they're getting back pay. Yeah, they're getting paid, but they're still taking their taxes. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you that. Government shut down. I'm still paying taxes. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. They get upset because workers, they don't want to work now. But just think about it.
They're calling in sick.
Yeah, and just
wouldn't
think
you?
About it, if
I ain't
they
gonna make it.
paid.
Y'all open yet? No. Yeah, I just got the flu till y'all open. What do you expect? Unless you're like a military personnel and you've taken an oath to protect the country, then I believe you need to go into work. But
I don't think it's the whole military. I think it was only like the certain branches. I know because they're funded by like another.
No, yeah, I'm just using that as an example. Oh. But like TSA, you're kind of the front lines, guys. I'm not saying don't come into work, but I'm also saying go into work. So I'm 50-50 on that. You're preventing anything bad from happening on a flight by being a level of security for the people who are trying to transport around the country and out of the country and stuff like that. So by you not coming in, now you're hindering security in a way. So I don't want to put it on the people, but in reality, the government shutdown, if that would have never happened, then these people who are not coming into work would eventually have came into work. So I'm split on both sides.
I say if you're not getting paid, don't go to work. I get TSA, but I just won't be on no planes anytime soon. It's just,
and that's sad. That's a sad way to look at it.
I know, it's very sad, but at the same time, it's just, don't true. Work for free. We work for a reason, and when that reason is not being satisfied, what's the point?
I agree.
It's just that simple, and a lot of bad things might happen from it, but that's the thing about the shutdown. That's what I was saying. Sometimes you just got to look at the majority. You see that it's going to affect so many people, not just because they're not getting paid, but just like I said, if I was to go to somewhere and I had to get on the plane and God forbid someone brought something they have to, they have no business bringing on the plane, then something happens, then that's more lives getting impacted, and just
yeah. But I don't
like
think
a domino
something like
effect.
that would happen. But all these people who aren't getting paid, I mean, I didn't see a single representative of either house step up and say, all these pots of money that we're trying to give to the wall, we're going to take a little portion of that money and make sure these people are getting paid. I didn't see that happen. So
Yeah, I think
couldn't they have simply just 800,000 people? I mean, a couple $1 million, maybe $1 billion, whatever. Just pay the people, man.
Yeah, it's not like we're not in debt anyways. What's a couple more $1 million? I think if they're gonna have a shutdown, they should have like some type of like backup money. Like you would think they would have backup money somewhere stored.
Every member of the house went home that night, had their butler come in and make them some food. They probably had someone drive them in their Rolls Royce to their house. Someone grabbed their coat at the door. They went in and sat down and, let's get some caviar. But these people are going to homeless shelters, getting loaves of bread, probably some bologna, a couple boxes of powdered milk to take home and make half-butt dinner for their family just to support them. So,
at the same time, while at the border, children are being separated from their parents, and kids are dying within custody of border control. All this is going on, and I'm pretty sure they're just living nice and peacefully, not really caring.
It's also the smoke and mirrors of the media. Hey guys, look at this. We're shutting down the government, but behind the scenes, we have all these other things that are going on. Now our attention is split from that over to this issue. And now we're all over this issue, and all of a sudden we forgot about something you brought up earlier, like Michigan. People in custody getting split from their families and potentially passing away, things like that. So what is the real big issue here?
And that's
Is
called
it the
agenda
wall?
setting.
Huh?
That's called agenda setting. A whole little term. But anyways, yeah, that's just like a whole little thing. Like that's just how sad it can be sometimes. I mean, the media does portray things a little bit too. They can kind of I guess make it a little bit more dramatic than what it can be. But at the same time, it's like.
Are you saying the media is fake news? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm not saying it's fake news. I mean, it's most definitely
You got your MAGA
real.
hat behind that chair or something?
I mean, sometimes the things they say can be a little, if you just read a headline, it could be a lot more, like maybe like the first paragraph or something. You read more and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Just like the wall. I feel like, Trump never really came out and said like what exactly is going on, but at the same time, from what the media has put out in these articles,
national security. That's what we get. That's what we get.
And that's not good enough, and that's what's in all the articles. That's what's in all the news reports and all that stuff. And if he has said something else, maybe the media needs to put in some more details and add some more to it. I don't know. I like I said, I just don't see a point. The government shutdown is just like terrible. And I feel so bad for the people who are struggling and have to, their lives have to be put on hold because of this.
Yeah. Why couldn't we come to an agreement or behind the scenes? Why did this all have to go public and live and then shut down the government? It's leverage. I understand. By having leverage, you have the upper hand, but shut down the government, people will suffer. I believe one of Trump's ladies said that we're going through a painful time right now, but it's for the better of our country. They ain't going through a painful time. We are, or shall I say the people of the government, but was it necessary? I don't think so.
No, I think it was more of a way. I think Trump, he did it because he had the power to do it. And then once he had the power to do it, he realized it would probably maybe scare them and make them do something.
But it's like I said, it's leverage. I'm going to back you into a corner until I get what I want. How am I going to do that? I'm going to shut it down.
Yeah, and just reopen, but the thing is, it's only temporarily open.
Yeah, until February 5th, I think, until they can come up with some agreement.
Exactly. If it's not an agreement, which I don't think they're going to agree to anything.
They want $5.7 billion to the T. They don't want 2.5. They don't want 3. They want $5.7 billion. And according to them, it's not a made-up number.
And that's the type of money you want for this one thing. And you have
he's trying to get it from the government, which is the right thing to do. But apparently he has the money already raised from other sources that he can use to build this wall, and he states he will do this with or without the government's approval.
I think
Congress, without Congress.
I think he just says stuff. Because during his whole campaign,
he's going to do it.
he was saying how Mexico was gonna pay for the wall, but
Okay,
then
Mexico is going to pay for the wall, guys. It's just not going to be directly. It's going to be through trade dealing and taxes. I mean, that's what he means by that.
I don't think Mexico's having it. And they're not having
Mexico
it.
ain't going to say,
They're
here's
not.
$5.7 billion, please pay for the wall so that we can look at that ugly thing going across our border. But what's going to end up happening, it's like I said, a trade deal. Okay, you need some steel, but we're going to tax you X amount of dollars, and we're going to ship the steel into your country so that you can build the infrastructure of your city. And in return, we're capitalizing off of that tax money. And once we get to the $5.7 billion mark, we can officially say, Mexico, you paid for the wall.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I
It's
feel like
indirect payment.
I feel like Trump, in the end, he's just gonna realize it was a terrible idea. He's just gonna try to switch
Trump's
up.
going to realize something was a bad idea.
But he's never gonna admit it. He's never gonna admit
8
it.
years later, because he will get reelected, he's going to be.
No.
He's going to get out, and he's going to be sitting in a Trump high-rise and eating a McChicken, and he's going to be laughing about this. I'm telling you, he's not going to regret none of this.
I mean, I just hope that everyone just realize how, important it is to vote, go out and vote. I think, this all could have been avoided to begin. I'm not saying, vote for a particular party.
When's the next voting cycle?
Should be next 2020, November 2020.
Michelle Obama 2020. You heard it here
I hope
first.
she goes. I hope she runs. But
I don't think Hillary should run again.
Yeah, I think she's still debating on whether or not she won.
Michelle Obama's got it.
She got to do it.
All right, any other final thoughts you guys have?
Just go out and vote, and just be careful out there. Always have a savings account for hard times.
To America, who needs our national security, let's do it. To Mexico, just get a bigger ladder.
All right, well, that about wraps up our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to stick around for future episodes. My name is Carly Kramer, and I've been joined by
Ashanti Hall.
Joshua Morgan.
For Spinnaker TV, we will see you next time on The Spin.